Hanna Bauer, what's your superpower and how does that serve your mission to help others?
Superpower is I want to be fulfilled and do it through love and excellence. And how does it feel others? Is by really being the best version of me and enjoying it, having the best version of you right in front of me.
Love that. Flywheel leadership is about discovering and practicing the leadership systems that bring out the best in each of us and our teams. You actually mentioned this to me in your email. Quote, you have built a platform that champions innovation and leadership, and we would love the chance to contribute to that conversation. End quote. I'd like to hear from you about your thoughts on innovation and leadership.
Well, absolutely. Thanks for asking that, because innovation, honestly, is very personal to me. I'm a result of innovation in a sense that sometimes I say I carry the scars of innovation in my body. And that's because when I was 14, I was actually the first child to undergo an innovative surgery, which is called a heart ablation. I didn't know the impact of that until about 20 years later. Once I was grown, I understood, well, what happened? And that's a documentary, and they told me I was the first of 3,000. So for me, innovation, I didn't even equate it to leadership until that moment when I was hearing my doctor and he was explaining, well, what happened? You know, first of all, what were the odds that something like this could even work? And he said, imagine being in a pitch dark room with all the lights turned off, you're trying to find out one little switch. But wait a second, the room spinning at the same time. He says, so what's the odds? And that spoke to me as far as, looking at the odds and innovation. When you're talking about that is, the odds may not be against before you. Actually, everything may seem dark. You don't even know where you're going. But in a sense, you do, because you know what's going to make that spark. You know what's going to make that one little thing. That one little thing is going to change everything. The one thing that changed everything. And as I heard and really understood, well, what kept me in innovation, one of the key things that he said that day was that they were just trying to keep me alive long enough for technology to catch up. And that's when it hit me, HEARTnomics. What kept me alive in innovation was love. Love is what sustains. And what kept them going is really the commitment to excellence. And excellence meant failure, but learning from that failure. So innovation is transformation through love and excellence. And I learned it through my body. I learned it through the doctors, through the medical community, and the leaders who were around me.
That's pretty powerful stuff. It's hard to top a story like that. Say that part again, please, about what innovation is, where you summed it up.
Well, innovation for me is a transformation through love and excellence. It's what we do. It's having the love, which is the human side, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I was a kid. Humans are involved. It takes humans, but it's not just about logical and learning and systems and processes, which we need, but it's really the sustainability aspect in innovating, in learning, in innovation. You're always going to have failure. You're always going to, that's part of it. If you're not failing, you're not doing anything. By having a system, a way that you're learning from that failures and having a way to be able to talk about those failures, even in those painful moments, that's really what breeds the innovation to come out. One of the key things for me, even in the surgery, and let's say I went back again, this is as an adult, understanding what happened, understanding that innovation doesn't necessarily mean something brand new that's never been done, a full new experiment. It just means utilizing what you have in a different way. For example, an ablation, that technique had been used for hundreds of years before. It's the way it's just basically is burning away so that the things that there will be paths either to stop bleeding, either to make things work the right way. It just had not been used that way. It just had not been used for the heart. And that's what I tell my leaders and I tell the organizations. You don't necessarily have to get one more thing or implement one other, just whatever the latest is. It's just, what do you have? And it's something that you have. Can we just use it in a different way? And that in itself is innovative.
Thanks for sharing. Appreciate that, Hanna. Would love to hear you talk a little bit more about your experience. A story that comes to mind that really exemplifies exceptional or unique styles of leadership. Any other stories that just pop out as whether they're former leaders or, teachers, coaches, whatever the story is?
Oh my goodness. Well, one thing is transformation when we're talking about, because innovation is going to transform, right? I mean, that's what we're looking at, doing a solution for something that's never been done to change, go into a vision that may have never happened before, that has not been done before. But to me, one of the craziest things was when my mentor, John Maxwell, invited us, a team, to go on a country transformation trip. Now that just completely like made my mind explode, right? Like, okay, one thing is transforming yourself. And we know that changing a habit, right? And doing new things can be hard. Then talk about an organization. Hey, it gets a bit more complicated. We're talking about team and culture and habits, but then an entire country. And the fact that we actually raised our hands and we raised up and we were right there with them as we went from one end of the country in the Dominican Republic to the other end, doing values-based leadership. And the crazy part for me and the most innovative, mind-blowing, and is that it works. When you get people around the table, leaders around values-based leadership, and you make the space and the time for them to listen to each other, for us to listen to one another. It really is amazing, not only the unity that comes out from that, but the differences don't seem so different after all. And years later, after seeing that work, not only was it exciting to be a part of it, it was innovative in a sense. Yeah, I mean, it has just not been done before. But seeing years later, the results, the impact, where you do see a lower comeback of the prison rate of the youth, where you do see education now, values being taught in all the schools for all the children, where they're having conversations around listening and valuing one another, where you see results of where the leaders are really making that change. And even you see it also economically, even in the economy of the countries that have even gone through this before, where GDP of the country changes. So you see that it's not just hey, this would be a cool thing, let's all get together, but the results that are aligned with that, they come not immediately. There's some immediate results, but then overall, over the years, that you're able to see really what the impact of innovation and transformation does.
Wow, that is something else. Thank you for sharing. I've never heard a story like that. You always hear about, things like water, food, a lot of those types of essentials, but leadership is a whole other lens that is also bringing value in a whole other way. So that's cool. So a lot of students of leadership and just, good books and things like that know John Maxwell, of course. So tell me, what is it like to have worked with John or work with John currently? Would love to hear kind of what that experience has been like. He's been a mentor and taught so many people.
Oh my goodness. Well, as I mentioned to you, I was part of the innovative surgery, right? But what I didn't say is that there were a lot of times I was too much of a liability to go to school. So there were times, I mean, I lived in CCU in the cardiac care unit. So I couldn't, going to school many times, it was physically impossible. The other times, legally impossible, because they wouldn't take me. It's like, dude, you're going to have a heart attack. I had 2 heart attacks, by the way, by the age of 10. So the only thing I had was books. That was like my one connection to the outside world. It was whatever book can get into me. And one of those books was John Maxwell. And I will say that for me, growing up, he was always there. As a teenager, I grew up in Duluth, so I didn't even know that his headquarters was actually across the street. So I honestly got the opportunity to be a part of the recording for his 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership when I was a teenager after having gone through this. So to me, that was like a whole opening of like, wait, you can develop into this, you can develop skills, you can develop leadership. So just being exposed to that level of just the way the communication that he had at the time, and being able to learn and grab that, fast forward to being part of the team and seeing that he's doing the same, he's the same person, but so much more the influence, the wisdom, and he really does care. I get to serve along with, like, I've served in the photo booth for him, for team members. And one thing that I do remember clearly saying, every time somebody takes a photo with him, he will pray for them. The whole entire time, he's praying for each person that comes. So what I've come to learn is, although he does have amazing stages with presidents, with prime ministers, with the royalty, kings, queens. He's training the top of the top. He cares about everyone equally, and he really does pray for everyone equally, and he does envision a world where everyone has equal access to be who they're called to be, and he believes in giving the tools. So I'm very excited to be with him, and he has work ethic like nobody else. He can kick our butts in anything. I mean,
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. Ed Milet's podcast, and Ed Milet was talking about how great his shape and how just driven he is. Yeah.
Like, for example, we're in Dominican Republic. I mean, by the time that we were serving, and it was early for us, he had already been like on a podcast. He had already been on phone calls with the leaders. Then he met with us. He did with us. And then as we're deployed, he is deployed as well. He's having like 3 other conferences with like 500 other people. And then in the evening, let's just take a helicopter to go to the other side of the country so they can check out the next place where they're going to be, and then come back and then still take care of his coaches. I mean, that was just a day for him. I was exhausted after 7 hours. I'm like, how in the world? No, he can outpace all of us any day.
That's really cool. Well, thank you for sharing about that experience. I love it. That's a book actually I just got recently last summer. So appreciate you. Would love to understand more about you and HEARTnomics. Like, please tell me about your business. Anything else that you'd like to share about HEARTnomics and your experience.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, HEARTnomics is the economy of the heart, and that came both as a lesson for me and my body with my going through the heart disease, but also as an entrepreneur. Although you would think that I would understand really what the heart is, it was when I was in those positions of leaderships and I had to take the really decision making that comes with leadership, which can be exhausting, that I realized that if I didn't have that anchor, I will easily stray away, just like everybody else. And I actually did lose my way. I tried to come up with solutions. I went very process and systems driven, and then realized I left the human behind. I went all human and realized that, hey, I'm starting to serve my people, and I got the whole company to serve the people. It wasn't really serving my client. So HEARTnomics came out of the birth of seeing in leadership, understanding, balancing out both the human-centric aspect of your business, but also the process and systems that makes them profitable, viable, and be of service to the client. So I love to serve other leaders that are both running businesses, executives, board of directors. I've served in quite a few nonprofits to not only help them with their systems and processes, but also be the strategy and leadership in bringing up the next line of leaders and also helping them do what they're called to do without getting burned out, because that's the other part. I noticed in leadership, although I was free from a heart disease, it very much felt like heart disease many times while I was leading, when I was out of alignment, when I was running on fumes, when I was thinking that I had to do everything, when I had to check on everything, when I had to all the time, like there was not enough days, there was not enough times, there was not enough hours to complete and do. And in the excuse of being a visionary leader, I literally burned myself out and realized that we're not serving anyone. We're not serving ourselves. We're not serving our purpose by not listening to our bodies, by not being effective in our purpose, and really being the leader that we're called to be for the teams that we're meant to lead. So I help people align with their purpose and help them do it well. Essentially, I tell my leaders, I help those leaders that don't just want to do the thing, but want to do the right thing and want to do the thing right. That's how I help.
Very good. Thanks, Hanna.
You're welcome.
What about any controversial take on leadership, teams, or business? Maybe something a little different than some of the mainstream stuff out there that you see. Anything that really comes to mind from your lens?
I think when it comes to equality, it's equality to access, but equality to outcomes. I think that is one of the differentiators. Sometimes people get upset as far as the outcomes or wanting to the equality of outcomes. So I think the controversial part is not like, no, everybody's not going to do the same thing with the same tools. I mean, we're humans. We all have different the fingerprints. As a leader, a lot of times we tend to judge only in the outcomes and judge a program or judge different accessibility because of the outcomes that come without really looking at all you can do is give access, give equal access, but it really has to come out of the people, the team members, to take the advantage, to invest it, and really have the outcomes necessary. And I think that's where sometimes people don't like to use the word accountability. And accountability is not punitive. Accountability really helps us align, and you can't do accountability by yourself. So I think if I was to say controversial one is that accountability is not a bad thing. Accountability is really good. Accountability helps us keep the process, the standard, have integrity in what we do. And when we're talking about diversity or equality, that part, we're talking really about accessibility, but we really can't control the outcomes. That really comes from the heart. That really comes from the environments that we nurture. And as leaders, a lot of times I see my leaders beating themselves up because the outcome wasn't what they expected. So I would say that to my leaders as well, that you're not responsible for the outcomes. You're responsible for the tactics. You're responsible for the environment. You're responsible for nurture that. But at the end of the day, everybody has a choice. And all that you can do is build environments, build bridges so that you have an invitation for people to make those choices that are going to work for you and work for the ones that you serve.
Love that. Build bridges. Well said.
Bridges.
When it comes to building those bridges, when you help leaders do that, like what's the most fulfilling aspect of that? I know you said you like to help people, you like to help people reach their goals, but like, what are some of the things that you see when that light bulb goes off in their head, they start actually practicing and understanding how to apply what you're teaching them? Like, could you take us through kind of that? Going back to that word transformation, like seeing them go from A to Z in that process. Can you share a little bit about that journey?
Sure. I think one of the aha moments, honestly, is going from that, in a sense, from the solo. One of the things that John Maxwell says is going from soloist to conductor. And in the soloist and the leader, of course, you just want to think of an orchestra soloist. The attention comes to you. Everybody else goes down, and you go and you bring in your very much your expertise. I mean, you're shining. But to move from that as a leader into a conductor, you notice a conductor probably could have been that soloist. The conductor may have even been better than that soloist. But that doesn't matter. The conductor has no instrument. The conductor, their job is to bring out the best in everyone. And for that, the conductor had to let go of the instrument in order for that conductor to be able to do what his or her purpose was. The aha moment for me comes in that. A lot of times it's not about what things you need to pick up. It's what things you need to put down so that everyone else can shine, so that you can shine as that conductor. So I would say the aha is when I see that people is when they see not what else do they need to pick up, but what do they need to let go of? What do they need to put down? So that then they can be and create the music and the harmony that they were meant to create together as a team.
Love that. So share a little bit more, please, Hanna, about like the foundations for leadership with impacting people along with company results. Like, what are some of those things when you drill down are some of the areas that, aren't going well? Maybe it's blind to the leader. Maybe the leader doesn't even know early on when you start working with them where, either this department's not going well or the culture is completely broken or toxic, however you want to say it, or the clients are, yesing them saying, oh yeah, everything's fine. But then they leave the next year. Like some of the things that you see behind the scenes really are the things that are driving the business. And maybe the leader is just completely blind to it.
So a couple of things. One is what I just said, where the leader's still trying to be that soloist when they're really the conductor. Because that comes with a lot of these leaders are subject matter experts. So usually that's how they either get into higher positions, or they may be the founders of the organization because they're the subject matter experts. And the problem that comes in, even especially in growth, is when those maybe the expertise, not they're let go, forgotten, but they're passed down or they're passed down in a strategic, systematic way to make sure they're still happening. But unfortunately, what I see a lot of times, those processes, systems, and strategies are still in the head of the leader, the founder, or the subject matter expert at the place. A lot of times, I notice that comes because of fear, right? That when we want to belong somewhere, and sometimes it's like, well, if I let go, that what's my value at? So I would say in implementing that part, well, that goes back to your purpose. Again, going back to that conductor way. I mean, yes, you can always say as a soloist, but my goodness, as a conductor, you don't just bring one, you bring an assembly of, you have many soloists, you multiply, you think about orchestra, symphonies. It's more fun. Like, I love soloists, but it gets boring after a while if you only listen to that one person, right? I mean, but the ability to bring all of this together and everybody's, bringing everybody else's expertise out, you notice that that's really what we enjoy. The whole symphony, the whole orchestra, what we create. So the hard part that I see is those founders or leaders that do want to grow, that yes, they want to scale and we're going to bring it higher, their goals and stuff, but still not willing to let go or pass down of those expertise or implement new evolving expertise in a way where we can still learn. Because it's like a subject matter expert, you didn't start as an expert. You made a lot of mistakes, you made a lot of failures in the way. Just like I said, like, well, with my heart, now my surgery is done outpatient. It's less than 45 minutes, usually not even considered like a big deal. At the time when they started with me, it was over 13 hours, hospitalized for a week. It took an entire mess. It took 3 different hospitals coming in together.
Wow.
So it changed, right? It's evolved. So now the surgery is what it takes because it's been done enough. It's been at some time. And I will say the same thing happens with leaders. Sometimes when ideas or more innovation, they come in, it's not going to work like the 45 minutes now that because you've been doing the ablation for 20 plus years. It may look like what it looked like back 20 years ago, but still be patient and nurture an environment, because that may be the one thing that you need to be able to revolutionize the way that you're doing things now, just like my surgery did. It revolutionized the way that heart disease is treated nowadays. I mean, people don't have to go through what I went through. They don't have to go through open heart. They don't have to go through all those drugs, because there is a better way. But it takes a leader to be able to nurture that environment where at its early stages of those ideas doesn't shut it down because it doesn't work right away, but it's able to nurture it so that it can grow into what it can be, what it's meant to be, and really help that organization revolutionize.
Hanna, a couple of things you've said over the last few minutes: conductor and symphony. Just those words just really make you think about the role of the leader and how that just plays throughout the organization. And to your point, a company is a collection of people, right? And how that really impacts the people. Unless you're a one-person show, the reality is you have a team, and that's what the company is, right? So, and that, for that matter, whether it's your company or your clients, it's all about serving people in some form.
Yeah. And that's one of them, because it's like not one man is self-made. Like there's really not one. There's you. And that is one of the, I would say, the myths and the lies in even implementing change or innovating. I think that your system is the only system that exists. Even in good solutions, it's going to impact somebody else. It may be good, it may help them, it may not be. Think about when software is implemented in organizations. It might be great for one process and makes it go a lot quicker, but suddenly if you talk to the other team, maybe the finance team, well, how's it going to talk to our software? And now it's going to take them an extra step that now they're going to have to do at night to be able to make sure that they sync everything. So now you just added a step to someone, what supposedly is going to help the other one go faster. So understanding just that one thing is because you change or you implement something, it's not just going to impact you. That's one of the things that even in solopreneurs, it's not just you. You have contractors, you use software, you use platforms, you do marketing. I mean, you honestly need to talk to somebody for people to know, is your market working? So it's not just you. And nothing that really has had impact in this world has ever been created by one person alone sustained. It may have started with one person, but the sustainability of it has taken an entire team. You are the spark. That means that if you're spark, something else is catching on fire. So there's other people. And yes, leading with people is difficult. It reminds me of one of those African proverbs that says, if you want to go fast, go at it alone. If you want to go far, go at it together. And it's true. It's talking about legacies. And that is a decision as a leader you do have to make. You want to go make a fast transaction for business owners, a quick buck in a sense, that a transaction just one-on-one, or you're talking about building something that's going to be outlast you, is going to outlast what the problem is. It's going to really outlast, be part of a legacy and something that another generation can use. And we do need leaders like that. We need leaders that are looking for that legacy, where we're not having to reinvent the wheel and having to clean up and catch up, but we're understanding that we are a system. Our organizations are a system, an ecosystem. That's why I have HEARTnomics. HEARTnomics, an economy of the heart. It's not just one heart. It's a network. It's a system of hearts. For that, I mean, even in my program, I mean, I talk about it from the systematic leader. And that's what we do need to see. You do belong in an ecosystem. Your organization does have internal customers, does have external customers. Your leadership systems are cross-functional. You do need to have not only cross-functional leaders, but you also need to have multi-layer leaders, your senior leaders, your front leaders. You need to have those things. So the leader that's able to understand the systematic way, how they belong in the system, is going to be that leader that's going to be able to not only sustain, but also help lead and change the systems that work better for humanity.
Hanna, what's one thing that you've changed your mind on over the span of your career or your life?
Oh my goodness. Well, one is what I just talked about with the systems. I thought I could, just super Hanna. Let me do it all myself. Because it does get frustrating. I mean, leadership can get, you can get to feel the heavy weight of it, right? I mean, I think there's another thing that John says, if you're getting kicked in the rears because you're up front, that means you're getting kicked, right? So I mean, sometimes we have those footprints and everything in the back. So it's like, okay, what am I doing this for? I think for me, one of the biggest thing is when I stopped really pleasing people, and I confused pleasing with serving. And they're different. Yes, there will be a certain reward, and some people will be grateful, some won't, and that's okay, right? So what? You're doing it for them, but you're really doing the right thing, and that's one of the reasons why I call not just doing the thing, but doing the right thing. There's things that we do because they're right. And they may not even be like because they work on our benefit. It's just the right ethical thing to do. And many times that right ethical thing to do is not, and most of the times it's probably not going to please everybody. So with times when realizing that, I'm not called here to please. I'm called here to do the right thing. What's going to work for our organization, what's going to work for the people. And when I made that shift, of going from that people pleasing to really looking at the right thing, then I had to ask myself, well, what is the right thing? How do I know? Like, okay, that's cool. I understand I need to do the thing. I need to do the right thing. So that's where purpose really came to the forefront. I had to really understand my purpose. I had to understand the purpose of our organization. And in a world where everything changes all the time, and you're getting all these messages of who you are, what your company should be doing, what's the next thing you need to be adopting, purpose comes even more upfront, because it is going to be that anchor. It's going to be that filter, and one internally, understanding that, hey, this is what is right. It's right because it aligns with who I am. It aligns with what I'm meant to do. It aligns with with what I am called to do, and what I can do well. And also understanding, when I'm able to understand that for me, I'm also able to understand that for my organization, because my organization can go through different changes. But at the end of the day, we have to deliver on that core. What is that mission? What is that vision? What is that part? What were we created for, this organization? So in that sense, it's the internal alignment that has to happen for also that external execution. So understanding is, okay, it's a constant balance, and that's where leadership comes in. It takes leadership to look into yourself and want to find out and learn your purpose. It also takes leadership to consistently align, to say no to things, to say yes to things based on your purpose. It's going to take leadership to do the same thing for your organization, to understand, define, clarify what the reality is, define where we're going in the vision statement, and create that pathway where people are going to go. It's going to take leadership to not only cast that vision, but it's also going to take leadership to align consistently to that vision. And it's going to be saying no to some things, yes to some things that are going to work that organization, those right things.
Well said. Hanna, a lot of what you're saying made me think of one thing is a lot of times leaders will be like, okay, I got to get my purpose and my vision, knock it out, check the box, and I'm done. Like, a lot of times I feel like people think that's the end. Like that's really just, that's the table stakes. That's the beginning. From there, the actual work with people really takes off, right? To your points, you just walk through, like you made me think about like that self-introspection and saying no and clarity, and then clearing that pathway of just, this is what we're here to do. And everything supports that vision, right? Not 1,000 different directions, but what's the one thing we do here, right? And absolutely, keeping people on that track as that conductor, that's the effort, right? That's where it really begins. And sometimes the vision will change and all that, but you have to be on that path for it to actually go, and iterate from there.
I mean, think about it. I mean, if you're a symphony, if everybody just did, hey, you have the music, you know how to play, I'm the conductor, we should just be able to come in and knock it out of the park when we opening night.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
Yeah.
They won't. They practice for months, hours. That's together. Yeah. That's outside of the individual practice that they will have. That's outside of the individual investment that they've done, that they do to have mentors, to have whatever it is that they do on their own. That's outside of what they do for themselves. And that is a commitment that we have to do as leaders. We want to, it's not that this is an invitation that we're just going to come together. It's all going to come together like that. No practice, no prior communication. You have your, you got the email. You got the meeting agenda. So when we come, I want everybody to just go ahead and we're going to just vote on this, make quick decision, get out and implement. And when it doesn't happen, people are getting fired, get their feelings hurt, miscommunication. We have hidden agendas. We have people completely feeling no ownership, disengagement, all of these things. But in reality, what it needs to be is the same thing. It's like, it's that internal, right? That personal growth and leadership. It's going to take all of us growing on our own. We have to grow. That's why I developed the BEAT program, because it's that internal alignment. Everybody's heartbeats, right? One person. But then also the coming together. We have to practice coming together. We have to understand, how are decisions made here? What decisions are right for us? We're asking our leaders to make decisions, to implement these decisions. And here, there's your baby. Go ahead, you do it. Will do what? So that's where culture, you can do that if the culture is strong enough that is speaking louder than anything. But if your culture is weak, or if we haven't spent any time, then you're just throwing somebody out there hoping that they're gonna hit something, and then you have chaos, liabilities, lawsuits. So then you have to understand that then they're practicing together also in that culture. That's every single day. Every day as a leader, you're either adding in or taking away from from the culture. So that is like our, in a sense, we're coming together for our practices, we're getting our thoughts in, and we're all this stuff, because when we time to execute this, we're going outside, when we're serving the customer, when we're doing our thing, when we're delivering our product, when we're seeing our products work, that is like, yeah, somebody's using it. In a sense, that's the symphony, that's the music, that's what we're seeing. But there's all of these things that go in there. And yes, it takes practice, it takes discipline, it takes commitment to growing yourself as a leader, it takes commitment to growing the culture, to helping to add on to the culture, making the culture be the one that needs to be, so it can deliver on the promises and the commitments to the customers. And it takes on really enjoying and celebrating and being able to learn from failures, but also celebrating those rewards every single day with your team.
Hanna, any other questions I should have asked you, or anything else you'd like to highlight about your work?
I should have asked. No, you did a great job asking for a lot of things. So thank you for helping me get the day started. For me, my main thing is I want the leaders to be aligned, and really I'm on a purpose for decreasing the burnout, because I know what it's like to have a heart attack, and I don't want my fellow leaders to have that. So with over 77% of professionals reporting their burnout, I have created the HEARTnomics system, so where they can have the BEAT program to help them align internally, but really have the heart. Where do we start is the heart, and that's values-based leadership. Is what I've seen. Leaders that have high values are the ones that are leaders that are not only doing the right thing, but really changing the world with the work that they do. So I have a free alignment assessment on my website that anyone can take for both internal alignment and also one for organizational alignment. So for anyone that's listening that, on your behalf, that wants to take on this complimentary assessment, they're more than welcome to HEARTnomics.com.
Very nice. Yeah, we'll include that link in the show notes as well. Very good. Before we wrap up, what do you want those you have worked with to say about your impact on them?
Oh, that they were able to do more with less and have a fulfilled life.
Very nice. Anything else before we wrap up, Hanna?
No, I think for all of those of you that, as we're starting the year, I really want to challenge you on seeing what you can let go of. Just like, with my heart catheterization, it was really not about adding anything. All they did was burn away spots that were making my heart beat too fast. So I would say the same thing, is there's just as much discipline, just as much reward in those things that you burn away, that you let go of, because that will give you clarity. So that is both my challenge and encouragement to you to get clarity by letting go of things and really enjoying having a fulfilled life.
So true. We'll wrap there. Hanna Bauer, HEARTnomics, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you sharing.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.